just one moment you'd be gone. It's not okay. We want to know. Lost in your eyes, Paris night skies, both hypnotized.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. I hope that your week has started well, and it seems like the camera is starting well tonight. We are quite well lit from what it looks like on my screen, but anyway, hello to you guys in the live chat room. Let's get you guys up on screen instantly tonight so we can see that we have Bev, Alison, Lisa, Constantia, Chant of the North, Charlie, Tammy, Bev, Billy, Alison, Vince is about to go through as well, Karen, Anna, Michael, Neil, Lisa, Corey, Julie. Hello guys, thank you for joining me tonight. And we opened up with Paris Nord. That's my song for my album called Persistence. If you want to check that out, head over to wingsofpegasus.com/music. And you can also get it on iTunes and Amazon. But it's better for me if you go to my website, because then I don't have to give away a percentage. So let's get my patrons up on screen, because they make this all possible in the first place. Their names go across the live streams. As you guys know, you regular viewers know, this is the reason we're even able to do what we're doing tonight. But all of the videos as well, I always say that it's the foundation of everything that I do. So a big thank you to these people at the bottom of the screen. Right. Now, full disclosure, when I started the live stream, I moved on my chair and it made a very strange sound. It creaked a little bit more than normal, and no, I haven't tightened the bolts yet. That's something that I think I said in the last live stream, that I've got to remember to do that. I didn't remember to do that, so it made a very funny noise. So if the chair collapses, we're prepared. Not that I'd be prepared. I'll have to grab onto something as I fall, but you're prepared, so you know exactly what's happened. But it normally makes some creaking noises, but I'm trying not to move too much because the creak it made was a lot more creakier than normal. It's like a prolonged creak, which didn't sound too good. So fingers crossed that I will survive the live stream tonight. Then again, if we get the guitar out, it means I'm going to have to move the chair, and yeah, it could end in disaster, but we will see. So let's get tonight's likes goal up on screen and see what we are aiming for. 3, 4, 5. So we are aiming for a sequence tonight. As you come through the door, if you could leave a thumbs up, that would be much appreciated to get us to that 3, 4, 5 by the end of the live stream, which means we will have a pick roulette next week. And never fear, we're going to be having a pick roulette later on tonight. So stay tuned for that one. Right. Let's see where we are at with our likeometer. 158 so far. So we've made a bit of a dent in that 3, 4, 5, which is great. Hit that thumbs up. If you could, that would be fantastic. And I know that we did have some donations that came through quite early on tonight, including Orlando, who I think was trying to get the gap between the live stream starting and when we weren't live, because those disappear if there is one made in that very finite window of, I don't know, it's maybe 5 or 10 seconds when I press the live button, or where it takes a bit of time to load. But I did grab that, and it is showing up on my screen. Orlando says, hello, everyone, and donated $2. So thank you for that. There were a couple of donations before that as well, but everyone say hello to Orlando in that live chat room. Let me get the donations tab up on screen, because I am talking about donations here, but you don't have to donate. Just watching is fantastic, as I always say. But for those of you that can't resist, then the percentage splits are up on screen. I think it's important that you do know that if you do donate, that between 35 and 45% goes to YouTube through the super chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal if you do things that way, and there is a PayPal link in the description below. But quick shout out to Paul as well, who donated. Actually, Orlando donated first, $2, saying spike the likes with lots of thumbs up, and then said your turn, Paul. So thank you for that, Orlando, because then Paul donated $2. Thank you for that, Paul, and the message was spike those likes, all y'all. Have fun tonight, OSK, which is Orlando's sidekick. And then Orlando just donated what I mentioned a second ago, the hello everyone. And then Ron jumped in there with a $5 donation at 3 minutes past midnight, saying hello people. So everyone say hello to Ron as well. So thank you for those very early donations. We have had some over on PayPal as well, so thank you guys for those. And I'm just going to make sure that I grab the ones that came through in between the live streams, because I do like to reference every single donation that happens ever. It doesn't matter whether it's on a live stream or not. But thank you, Roderick, for this donation that went through on Sunday, and that's for £3. So thank you for that, Roderick. And the next one was from Hannah, who donated £5. Thank you for that, Hannah. That was at 5:30 on Monday, so that's yesterday. And the message is, hi Phil, thanks for the channel. Eurovision's national selections are underway. Have you ever watched Eurovision? Do you have all-time favourite songs or performances? So thank you for that, Hannah. And I mean, I don't generally watch Eurovision. I might know what the song is for the UK, but then again, sometimes I don't really keep up with it. I tend to maybe just watch it for a song or two, because it's such a long event. It goes on for hours and hours. So rather than kind of watching all of them, and it's very political as well. So the songs that get more points are generally countries that help each other out and give themselves 10 points, and then the other country then gives the country that helped them 10 points. So it's not always about the music, but I mean, that's generally the case for everything in life, that it's all about who likes you and who you like. But anyway, I don't watch the whole thing, but I think the most famous or the performance and the song that everyone knows here in the UK, I think it was Bucks Fizz, Making Your Mind Up. I think that's what it was called. And I'm actually amazed that I remembered that, because they had Cheryl Baker was the name. I don't know why I've got this information in my head, but anyway, Cheryl Baker was one of the singers, and then went on to, I think, do some presenting, something like that. And she's quite well known here in the UK, but there was a dance that they did where they ripped their skirts off, and I think that's probably why they won. But then again, the tune was, quite happy and quite upbeat, and it's one of those ones that gets stuck in your head, so it was quite a hooky song. So it was strong from that melodic point of view as well, but very light-hearted, a bit tongue-in-cheek. And you can imagine that with that whole dancing thing, that I think it was back in, I don't know whether it was 80s or maybe even earlier than that, but yeah, that's something that we all know here in the UK, because we won Eurovision with that particular song. So yeah, that's all I can think of, and I'm amazed that I actually got the name of the band and this song. So there you go, Hannah, thank you for that donation. And let me just jump into the next one, because Nicole donated £8.32. So thank you for that, Nicole. And the message was, hello, Phil. I guess, I'm giving the message a mention. So my brain's just got to decide which one of those two words it wants. But we'll stick with message. And then Nicole wrote, and it said, hello, Phil. Bonsoir. Thank you for video Sunday night, Crosby and Nash, and this famous song, Guinevere. Nice moment. I love the acoustic ballad. Phil, you make my life easier. Best way for you. Cheers in the kingdom. So thank you for that, Nicole. And yeah, we had that video on Sunday. Where are we? Tuesday. Yeah, so it was Sunday night that we had a little look at Guinevere. So check that video out if you haven't already, because we do bust out the acoustic guitar for that particular song, of course. And yeah, it's one of those interesting ones with alternate tuning in there as well. So yeah, a good one to kind of pick the guitar up, and it's quite progressive as well. So yeah, it's one of those songs that is always interesting to play through something, especially fingerstyle, where you've got different sequences going on. And of course, playing acoustic guitar, you've got to make sure that all your chords are nice and clean. That's the one thing that really does stand out about, David's performances, the way that he would play and sing, is that it's actually quite involved with the guitar, but you never notice it, just the way that he delivers it, because he's so relaxed with his, not only his vocal style, sometimes, like in that particular performance, being very light with it, but the relaxed way of playing, but still being, technically accurate. So yeah, really cool one to take a look at. But thank you for that, Nicole. And Steve has donated £5 as well. So thank you for that, Steve. And the message was, can you explain the whammy bar, whammies, dive bombs, and whatever it was that Jeff Beck was doing? So thank you for that, Steve. And I mean, yeah, I can give a rough outline. Maybe I'll grab the guitar to give an example, but if you haven't seen my Jeff Beck video that I did recently, check that out, because I do talk about the whammy bar and some of the things, just, a very few amount of the things that Jeff did so well and was so unique. These ways that he would combine technique with melody and expression, and things that are so important to just music in general. I mean, it's all well and good having all the technical ability in the world, but if you can't relate that to melody to make a connection with an audience, then you're always just going to be great at technique and not necessarily great at music, whatever music is, and however it connects to people, kind of on a deep level. So yeah, that's one of the things that we do explore in that video, but yeah, check that out if you get a chance. Right, I'm going to move my chair backwards. And it is creaking a little bit, making some funny noises. Let's grab the guitar so that we can give just a quick demonstration of what we have going on. So this is the whammy bar here, and what you will notice is that Jeff had his always in a particular position that, I'm assuming that he actually kind of bent it a little bit more, had it adjusted so that it stuck closer to the strings, because his would be closer to the strings than mine is, because I still have to kind of move down to grab it. But when it's part of the fundamental technique, you want to make sure that you're picking and the whammy bar is kind of within your finger span, so you can grab it quite easily. So I'm not sure whether you'll be able to see this anyway, so I'm going to kind of hold it up here, which isn't advisable for kind of playing in general, but let's see what we are. Okay, right, we are plugged in, we are fine. So the whammy bar, I did mention in that video, give it a watch because I go into it in a little bit more depth. The whammy bar allows you to not only, let's just play an octave of an E, not only go down, but actually go up in pitch as well. Hopefully you can still hear my voice over the microphone. So that's where it is unique in that, when you're playing on the fretboard, you can only make the note go higher. The pitch is going up and down rather than down and up, which is what you tend to get most in vocals when people are singing. So that's why I mentioned in that video about, Jeff's voice being unique through the guitar, because he'd always have that whammy bar there. Right, so where is the question? Right, so the whammy bar, that's what it does. It allows you to change the pitch of the strings or whatever you're playing. Generally, you'll be using it for that kind of thing, using the whammy bar for vibrato. And obviously, depending on the speed you're doing it, you can make it as fast or as slow as you want. And this is something that I always say, that you should try, technique-wise, to get your vibrato similar to your whammy bar. You can't make the pitch go lower with your vibrato, only higher, but you want to make sure that if you are playing, and I play that note, if I'm going and I'm doing it slowly and then going and doing it fast, you want to be able to kind of, in an ideal world, do all speeds of vibrato on the frets, but you can use that whammy bar if you want to as well. Now the thing is about doing dive bombs is that generally you would have something called a Floyd Rose bridge on your guitar, which the bridge is kind of at the bottom, this kind of silver part you can see down here. So having a Floyd Rose bridge means it isn't connected, it's kind of floating, it's not connected to the guitar. So obviously it is connected to the guitar, but what I mean is that it comes a really long way off the body of the guitar. So it means that you can bring this bridge where the strings are, at least kind of where they're fixed points at the top of the guitar and the bottom of the guitar. You can bring the fixed point of the bottom of the guitar closer to the top of the guitar. So it means that your strings, if you imagine strings are really tight, if I now bring this side up and closer, and this is the movement of the Floyd Rose bridge, it kind of goes up and like that, it means that your strings that are here are now so much closer to here that you can imagine they're really wobbly. As soon as you now pull them back and down, it's now pulling them tight again. And you lock the strings in tune with a Floyd Rose bridge. So it means that you can dive down as far as you want, make the strings really wobbly, imagine like an elastic band, like pulling an elastic band really tight and then bringing it closer together. It then goes wobbly and then pull it out again. If an elastic band made a note, it would make a high note when it's stretched out, and it would make a low note when it's pushed back together. And that's what's happening with the guitar strings. I mean, that's just kind of tension and strings and how they work in general. The tighter they are, the higher the note you'll get from them. So generally, to do dive bombs, you'll have a specific bridge in order to allow that. Because if you were to do that, you could have a go at it, using kind of a floating bridge, but one that isn't designed to do that. But you will go out of tune. Your strings aren't locked in tune. So it means that as soon as you do that, then when they go back to their original position, they won't be at the tuning that they started at, or at least they might maintain it for a little bit, but then after a while, if you keep on doing it, the pitch is really going to be affected. And this is something that Jimi Hendrix suffered with. Sometimes when he'd go mental on his whammy bar, his strings would go out of tune. And of course, the people then turning up to the gig who didn't see the first half of it are now just listening to him playing an out of tune guitar. So I think actually a lot of people that say, oh, I didn't rate Jimi Hendrix at all, they've heard probably his playing on an out of tune guitar. They've missed all of the first part where he was in tune and he was just melting people's faces. So yeah, I mean, that's what you get from the whammy bar. Obviously I use it quite subtly. The other thing actually we have is I don't know whether you can hear my guitar or not. Linda says laugh out loud Phil, so I'm not sure what that refers to. Hopefully you can actually hear my voice and I'm not just a moving image without any sound to it. So I will see. Oh, Sarah said Hendrix was a god. So at least people, I'm assuming, can hear me. Right, so back to the point of having the whammy bar. Something that Jeff did. Say that I wanted to go down like that. If you kind of try and remember that melody, something that Jeff would do would go and like that. So actually, I'm not going to do it on here because I know that I'm probably going to be doing a fill jam later on and I need my strings to stay in tune. So what he did was change how he got to notes by using his whammy bar. So instead of going like that, he'd go like that. So hopefully you can hear how I'm not moving my hand down, I'm actually kind of pushing it down to about a semitone. Obviously I'm not very kind of good at doing it, and this is where Jeff just had all of these tiny touches on the whammy bar. He just had it down. He knew exactly how far to push in to get exactly a semitone and exactly how far to push in to get a tone, which is going to be two notes rather than go like that going down. So once he had that control, it gave his guitar playing such a different sound because he's now sounding like he's sliding from notes to notes rather than having that sudden change of note, which you can't avoid when you slide over a fret, because that's the way that the guitar works. Is as soon as you go into another fret, you get another note. But getting the microtones between that and having that slide, it can even make it sound like you're playing with a slide. And sometimes Jeff's playing did sound like that, even though he wasn't, using a slide when he played. So yeah, that's something else that he had. But just as a kind of brief introduction to what Jeff was doing, it was just all of that, having that kind of control. And even when, sliding down and still keeping that whammy bar going, sometimes you do that as well. And it gives it such a unique sound, having the vibrato going through the playing and through the change in frets as you move from one fret to the next. So yeah, anyway, Steve, thank you for that. And I mean, it seems like probably I'm going to have the guitar out for the whole live stream because it's a very early question, but thank you for that. Hopefully that explains it. I mean, roughly, as I said, check out that Jeff Beck video, you guys that haven't seen it yet. Right, and Ron donated in the PayPal window as well. Thank you for this, the £3.99, and that's a straight up donation. So thank you for that, Ron. And Johanna has donated £30 in that PayPal window as well. So thank you for that one. And I just got to scroll through because Tammy has donated £10. Thank you for that, Tammy. And the message is, hi Phil, what do you think the next piece of technology will be after digital technology? Okay, so here's a question asking me to predict the future. So, I mean, from analog to digital, I think that progression in technology is still, I mean, it's pretty much doing the same thing, but changing how the information is recorded. Rather than recording audio on tape and then playing it back through tape, you can now just record it on a hard drive, and the hard drive, plays it back. So, I mean, it's kind of saving it as data. So for me, the next, I mean, it's difficult, but after digital still needs manual input. And I think we're kind of moving away from that in terms of when you are, well, phones are a great example. I was going to say typing, but when you take a phone, we used to have to, physically push down the buttons and do the typing of it that way. And anybody that knows when mobile phones came in and started to become kind of more mainstream, I'd say around 1998, 1999. I think that's probably around the time where we had phones where you had to press, like, for example, if you wanted an A or a B or a C, you pressed was it number 2 or number 1? I can't remember. But you had to press it once for an A, or twice for a B, or 3 times for a C. And that's how you would write your messages on your phone. So you still had to put it in. And if you wanted to call someone, you had to actually press the numbers. Now we've got touch screens. So it means that the input is now becoming easier. But I would argue that not as good as having the buttons, because now, because it's a touch screen, you can touch the screen and it can register the button next to the one that you wanted. But with the buttons, that would never happen, because once you press a button, you're pressing a button. Whereas on a touch screen, if you've got your finger in slightly the wrong place, it'll give you the wrong letter. So anyway, it's, I don't know, a more advanced technology, but you could argue isn't as good as how it used to be. But I guess it'll be a lot quicker to write a message just pressing on a screen rather than having to go 1 2 3 and then 1 2 1 2 3 on the numbers. So anyway, that's the way that technology's moved on. I think way in the future, there's going to be some kind of technology where you don't have physical input anymore, it's mental input. And what I mean by that is, I know that there's VR technology or something that's really early in development, but you put on the equivalent of a VR headset, but it kind of sits on your head, and it's measuring the, I was going to say synapses, I'm not sure whether that's the right word, but it's measuring your brain activity and what's firing off in your brain. So when the subjects have looked at something, they have to choose something on the screen, and these set of, I don't even know what they're called, like maybe receptors or something, that's part of this headset. It is measuring the activity in your brain, and it knows what you are choosing by what you're thinking. So I think that's going to be the next technology, the next big step, is being able to choose things by thinking of them on your screen rather than having to type or move a mouse, for example. And that reminds me that another technology that is moving along and is actually already in a VR headset called the Quest Pro, I believe, it has eye tracking. So it means that it knows where you're looking on the screen or in the VR headset. So wherever you look, if you wanted to just look at something and select it, you only have to look and press a button. rather than having to get your mouse and move it, get the arrow onto where you want, you're already looking at what you want. So I guess that's the stepping stone to what I'm talking about your brain just thinking what you want. If you can just look at it and press a button, then you can select it. And that technology already exists, is in a headset. And I mean, the reason that they use it in a headset is that I think for playing games or VR games, if the computer only has to render or create what you're looking at, the rest of the image it doesn't have to worry about. So it means that it can process a lot more information and be, a lot more accurate, but more importantly, it frees up a lot of space for the computer, knowing, I don't have to render everything outside of what you're looking at. So it can make it even more efficient at, rather than, I think with computer games before, it would render everything. So it's all rendered, and it doesn't matter where you look, it is rendered, but it takes up, a lot of CPU power and a lot of memory. And yeah, it just takes up a lot of the computer's resources to do that. If it only has to render a little section that you're looking at, then obviously it can be a lot more efficient. So that's where I think technology will go. But again, you're asking me to predict the future. But I think autonomous, I don't know what fancy name you might give it, mental autonomy, maybe, I don't know, it sounds like I'm making up words, but that's my top tip, what I think for the future of just technology in general. And of course this is all going to cross over to music production. Rather than having to select things on your screen, you could be maybe playing the guitar and you look at your screen, and then there's just a button that you press in order to select what you're looking at. So yeah, I think that might be the way that it goes. So anyway, thank you for that, Tammy. But it's always difficult to predict the future. But that's what I'm... well, if I had to make a guess, that's what I would say. So thank you for that, Tammy. And Susan has donated £7. So thank you for that, Susan. And I'm going to get this up on screen because we are a little bit more up to date now. This came in at 7 minutes to midnight. So thank you for that donation, Susan. It is a straight up donation. And we've had another donation from Karen for £38.67. So thank you for that, Karen. And just going to scroll down. The message is, thanks for everything you do, and no problem at all. Thank you for tuning in. Also, for hitting that thumbs up. If you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, it'd be much appreciated if you could do, in order to get us closer to that 345 likes goal that we are aiming for tonight, in order to have a pick roulette next week, and we will be having one of those tonight. So stay tuned for that. I think we've had a couple more donations. So Maria donated £1.55. Thank you for that, Maria. And the message is, hi Phil and everyone, here's to the new chair fund. Spike those likes, everyone. So thank you for that, Maria. The only thing about the chair that I've mentioned before is having a chair that doesn't have armrests on, because you can see that this doesn't. It's just a really basic wooden chair. But it means it allows me to play the guitar without having to kind of move it out the way of an armrest. So I'll have to have a little look out for maybe a solid, comfy chair that doesn't have anything at the sides, so that I can still play the guitar, demonstrate things, and all that kind of stuff. So thank you for that, Maria. And William donated £30.94. Thank you for that, William. And that is a straight up donation without a message attached to it. So thank you for that. And I can see that there have been some more donations in the super chat window. So thank you guys for those. Even though I do say that just tuning in is great. You don't have to donate at all. But it's very kind of you. Thank you very much. And, it really doesn't make a difference. But, thank you guys for just tuning in, spending a bit of live time with me on a Tuesday and a Saturday, 12 midnight Greenwich Mean Time. If this is your first live stream, that is when we do it. But thank you to Get Some J, who donated $5 and said, quick hello to all Wings of Pegasus fans. I missed greetings. Sorry. So thank you for that, Get Some J. And Lisa W has donated $5. So thank you for that, Lisa W. I can see it says starting the new chair fund. So, yeah, we'll see. How we get on with that. Some chairs, this is something that I did look at. I mean, just chairs in general. I mean, and sofas and beds. When you start looking at sofas and chairs, obviously when you go to sites they start showing you beds as well, and you realise how I say crazy expensive they are. But I don't know. Maybe it's just really expensive to make chairs and beds and things. But I think, well, doesn't it just need like 4 bits of wood? Stick those together. It's probably a lot more complicated than I'm giving it credit for. But yeah, I mean, you can look at £1,000, £1,500 just for a quite simple sofa, like just a 2-seater sofa, like £1,500. So yeah, a bit mental, I think, when you start thinking about that kind of money just for something to sit on. But yeah, they are very expensive. But I think for maybe the studio, I'll be able to get something a little bit kind of cheaper. Just maybe a little bit of an upgrade to the wooden creaky chair. I'll have a slightly more sturdy chair. It can still be wooden, but yeah, without the armrests. But thank you for that, Lisa W. And Orlando donated $5. So thank you for that, Orlando. Again, the message is, I see Jeff Beck's influence on guitarists like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. And yeah, he's just been a huge influence on so many players because of, I think, his ever-evolving style that he had. It just kind of take his playing to totally different places. So yeah, definitely he inspired a lot of, I mean, I say a lot of the greats. Of course, he was a great himself and a legend, and I think so many guitarists were hugely inspired by him, but also, yeah, hugely influenced by him. So thank you for that, Orlando. And the message is, thank you. Another one from Orlando, straight underneath for $5. Thank you for that. And the message is, I remember rotary dial telephones. So do I, which became push button then, of course. The mobile phones, which we now know as cell phones. Yay, technology. So thank you for that, Orlando. And yes, this was the problem when you had a number that was like, it had lots of ones in, twos, and you had to start at the bottom and go all the way around, wait for it to come back, all the way around, wait for it to come back, and you had to keep on doing that. Yeah, it took ages. So yeah, when I was young, those were the phones that we had to use. So yeah, I'm old enough to remember that as well. And then I know, yeah, when mobile phones first came along, they were huge. And I can remember that my dad had a mobile phone in his car, but it was like a company car. He didn't own it, but the car that he got had a phone in it. So, I mean, talk about advanced for the time. Obviously, it was huge, and it had, like, the kind of, I don't know what it's called, the spring coil type lead to it. But, yeah, so that was kind of the first mobile phone that there was. But yeah, and then phones started turning into push-button phones. And then, of course, you had the internet, which, when it first came around, was dial-up. So it means that you had to wait for it, and when it literally dialed up to the internet, it had a particular number. So you would hear it go, beep. And it would make noises. And they go, and then while it's connecting. So yeah, dial-up internet, which was another thing. All of these things that, I mean, it's great to have been around before the technology existed, because then you know where it's come from and how far it's come. Considering the internet now, and this is why I blame aliens, because the internet now, from having something where, I can understand that you have to dial up, and I can understand that they, first of all, have telephones, which means there's an audio signal going through the line to the recipient, and that is audio information that has a particular quantity to it. It is information that's being transferred. So the next step, I understood that, okay, once you realize you can transfer information through a wire, then the internet is that next step to realize, okay, we can put a particular amount of information through this wire. Why can't we send a document or something as a piece of information for it then to land on the other side, which of course then worked. So the bit that lost me was wireless internet. It's like, I can understand something going down, a line, and information, being transferred that way. But then saying, right, now let's do it through the air. That's something that I find difficult to understand, and that's why I blame aliens, because I think that this is the kind of technology that, to me doesn't really make sense. I can't get my head around it. And in order for that to have happened and for it to be just in the mainstream and for people to accept it and not even question it, I think there's got to be an alien invention. But, these things just surreptitiously make them into everyday life. And if they're done slowly, we don't really question it. Whereas back in even the 90s, if you just suggested having something wireless that was information, but then again, I'm just figuring it out now in this live stream, that you could argue radio waves are the same as a phone call. You're hearing somebody's voice. That is audio information. It has to have a quantitative value to it for you to be able to hear it. So something has gone across the air and you're hearing it. And the only explanation for that is that it has somehow travelled as a piece of information from one place to the next. So maybe that's how Wi-Fi works, that's what they're using, just a different frequency to radio waves. Anyway, so that's what I'm figuring out. Maybe that's how it works. So maybe it wasn't aliens. Maybe we already knew how to do it in the 50s and the 60s. Or maybe, because radio is, radio's been around for ages. So I'm not sure we can blame that on the aliens. Anyway, let's. I mean, it's interesting to think about. I mean, this could make the live stream go on for years, talking about inventions, where they come from, how they develop, and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, thank you for that, Orlando. And it all started from telephones, dial-up internet. So anyway, 1:45 in the morning already here in the UK. So we are going to be jumping into tonight's cover video, which I haven't even mentioned yet. We have a vote going on at the top of the live chat room. It's between In My Dreams and All Right Now. So those are the two. I can see that All Right Now does have 54% of the vote. So we might be able to jump into that in a second. And I can see that Marta just went through there saying it's not aliens with a smiley face. So I mean, it might not be aliens, but I think there are some things that are a little bit suspicious, and I think they might be aliens. But especially when I'm talking about that Curse of Skinwalker Ranch series. If you haven't seen that and you are interested in all that kind of stuff, then I'd suggest that. I think it's in, or at least maybe the third series is finished, so you'll be able to just watch the whole first 3 series of it if you haven't watched it. And I do actually like it when that happens, when you find a new series and you're joining it late and there's already been a few of them, because it means that you can catch up really quickly, and it's a lot better than having to wait for the next episode. So I think whenever the next Skinwalker Ranch episode comes out, I'm gonna have to do what I always do, which is watch one and then you've got to wait till the next week to find out. And sometimes they leave it as a bit of a cliffhanger. So, the last shot of the episode will be, what is that? And they're all jumping around, and then you don't know what that is, and you have to wait a week to find out what it was. So, that's why I like it, because, I like it when you don't have to wait that week, because then you can just load up the next one and find out what it was. So I'm a little bit kind of impatient for that. So anyway, thank you guys for these donations. We are going to be jumping into tonight's cover video. Let me end the poll and see what we ended up with. It's got to be All Right Now. I don't think it would be. Well, it went down by 1%, so it went down to 53%. But we will have a little listen to this, my version of All Right Now, of course, by Free. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you guys after this. Rock.
There she stood in the street, smiling from her head to her feet. I said, hey, what is this now, baby? Maybe she's in need of a kiss. I said, hey, what's your name, baby? her home to my place, watching every move on her face. And she said, look, what's your game, baby? Are you trying to put me in shit? I said, slow, don't go so fast. Don't you think that love can last? And she said, love, Lord above. Now you're trying to trick me into love. Ow! Alright now, baby, it's alright now. 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 Alright now, baby, it's alright, it's alright. Alright, we're so happy together, baby, it's alright now.
And there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. My version of All Right Now by Free. Thank you for voting for that and asking for it over on Patreon as tonight's cover video. Right, we are going to be jumping into the pick roulette, but before that we have a few pictures that we're going to be taking a look at as well. So let me get the background up on screen and get these pictures loaded up. First of all, we have a picture that is, I'm not sure exactly who made this. I do know that it is from the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. So if you guys want to join in, if you're not part of that group, just head over to Facebook. If you are a Facebook user, type in Wings of Pegasus supporters group and then you can join in. But this was from there, Wings of Pegasus Guff Stock 2023, and then it does say closing on 300,000 fans. So it looks like Guff Fest has either got a sister event or has competition from Guff Stock. So we will see. Maybe we'll have to have a couple of events. We have Guff Stock and then Guff Fest. So anyway, thank you for putting this together. And Laura for sending me this. And yeah, that's over at the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. And then we have, this is some merch that's been sent in from Corey. So thank you for this. And it looks like we have the Wings of Pegasus ornament at the top there. Obviously, the Wings of Pegasus tumbler. And the Wings of Pegasus pick tin. It looks like as well that we've got a couple of guitars hanging from the tumbler as well, like maybe earrings there. So thank you for that, Corey. And we have one more picture. And this is Charlie sporting his Wings of Pegasus t-shirt, and it looks like he's about to lay down some smooth grooves on his telly. And when I say telly, I don't mean on a TV, I mean on his Telecaster, because that's the guitar that he's got. So thank you for this. Oh, we've got some double rock horns as well going on. So thank you for that, Charlie, for uploading that picture. And thank you guys for uploading the pictures to that Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. And to Laura and Vince for linking me to them. Carla does that as well. So thank you guys for that. Right, let me try and get back to where I was. I just did the ultimate accidental click. So it moved me away from where I wanted to be. Okay, right, the picture's now gone. And we're back, so it wasn't as disastrous as I thought. Right, we are going to be jumping into the pick roulette for tonight. So I haven't picked a top tip yet. So I'm just going to make some space to then type in the top tip. I'm going to look into the live chat room while I get everything up on screen. Anybody that wants to be the top tip, let me know. And maybe it'll be the first time. Actually, I think, was it Kevin who let me know? I can't remember. But somebody let me know on Facebook that the person or somebody suggested being the top tip on the last live stream, but I picked somebody else. And it was the person who won was somebody that did suggest to be a top tip. So, yeah, we could have had the first winner last week, but let's not cry over spilt milk. Maybe we will have it this week, or tonight even, but we do have another pick roulette on Saturday. So, tune in for that live stream as well. But let's jump into this. See you in a second. So let's get the wheel up on screen, and I'm now looking into the live chat room. Anna says pick me, but I think Anna has been chosen before. So I think, yeah, we need to kind of spread it around a little bit. I'm going to pick somebody at random. What about Karen Bennett is going to be the top tip for tonight. So let's type in Karen's name like that. Right, oh, I spelled Karen's name wrong, but it doesn't matter. I put Bannett instead of Bennett. Right, there we go. Okay, if this is your first pick roulette, the darker segments are the t-shirts. If we land on one of those, then we have a t-shirt roulette. But we're here to land on a name so that somebody wins the signed Wings of Pegasus pick. So we're going to give the wheel a spin, and we're going to see who is going to win. And as already mentioned, we haven't ever picked the top tip who has then won the live, well, the pick roulette, but any live stream just from the beginning of time, it's never happened. So we're looking out for Karen's name. Is Karen coming up anywhere? I can't see, but we do have a t-shirt that is going to be close. It's going to go past the t-shirt, and it's going to land on Lauren. Yes, it is. So congratulations to you, Lauren. You are the winner tonight of the signed Wings of Pegasus pick. If you can let yourself be known to Carla in that live chat room, that would be fantastic, so that she can get everything that she needs from you in order to send you that signed Wings of Pegasus pick. And as I always say, commiserations to everybody else, but double your chances of winning by tuning in on the Tuesday night live streams and the Saturday night live streams, because whenever we hit that pick roulette lights goal, we have a pick roulette the next week. That's how it works. So let's get rid of that. Let's come back to this screen, and I can see that we are within 6. Some easy calculations from me tonight. We are within 6 likes of hitting our pick roulette likes goal for tonight's live stream. So if you haven't hit that thumbs up, yeah, it'd be much appreciated if you could do that. And we're just approaching 1 a.m. here in the UK. So we are really close to hitting the target, but we might jump into, I mean, we do usually jump into the fill jam that we have at the end of the live streams, which we are approaching now, but only once we've opened the entries for the pick roulette next week. And I can see that we did get a spike of the likes, so thank you guys for that. We're just bolted up to 354. So we are now opening the entries for next week's Pick Roulette because we've just hit the target. And maybe some people were typing I agree before we'd even hit the target. So yeah, maybe people are clairvoyant or can predict the future. I'm not sure whether clairvoyancy, if that's a word, whether that is something that you can tell the future or know about people without them knowing that you know about them or know about the past. I don't know what it means when you're clairvoyant, apart from, I think, being able to see things. Maybe it's like being able to contact ghosts and that stuff. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, people could tell the future, if that's what it means. So, yeah, well done, everyone. I'm going to type the example, even though I can see that everyone's doing that in the live chat room. Carla Murray, I agree. So that's what you need to do in order to get your name on next week's Pick Roulette. Just copy what everyone's doing in the live chat room. Type at Carla Murray in order to tag her, and then type I agree. You can do it in capital letters with an exclamation mark if you want to, but don't put lots of emoticon things behind that because YouTube sees that as either spam or something else if you do too many of the pictures. So sometimes you'll see that your comment doesn't show up when you have those after it. So anyway, that's the way to enter in for next week. Right, we are going to be having this Phil Jam then. And Tracy says, Phil, we can see the likes before you can. There's a delay on your end apparently, so thank you for that. Well, how is there a delay? Oh, maybe I'm live streaming, you guys are seeing it, and then I'm seeing the result after it's been shown to you and then on my feed. I guess, yeah, if I'm live streaming and you might be, say for example in the USA, you're seeing me from across the water, and I'm seeing me from across the water and then back again. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know why it would be delayed with my end because this is live. It can't get any. It can't get any earlier than me saying it. So, yeah, try and figure that one out. Right. Let's jump into this, and we go over to Patreon for this. And I do have the messages here, but I think I might have to do another message to Joe just to bring it up high up the list because I have to scroll down because it was quite a while back. So we've done, right, Jazz Fusion style, we've done all those. Prog style, I think we're on the third one down. And it says, this one is tricky, 11/8. So that refers to the time signature. So this is the one that we're going to click on. Oh, did I miss it? I'm clicking on it again.
Building your online.
And there's going to be an advert, so let me mute that and let that play through. At the moment, I can't hear anything, which is, yeah, a little bit concerning, but let's skip that. Okay, right, I can hear that. Right, so this is from Quist, the YouTube channel, and is called 11/8 Progressive Rock Backing Track, E minor. So it looks like Quist is going to play a little bit, and I mean this might be good to explain about time signatures, all that kind of stuff. So 11/8 means, I mean, it is going to be an awkward time signature actually, and I'm generally I'm not into having too progressive a time signature because then it starts becoming more about maths, which I'm not particularly good at, rather than just kind of playing the music and you're kind of having to count a lot while you're playing. So yeah, I'm not really into that, but then again, I am into maybe changing up a 4/4 time signature in places with other interesting time signatures, maybe just for a bar or a couple of bars. And maybe we'll do some demonstrations of that. But let's get into this backing track, which I can see is 16.5 minutes in length. And if it's going to be the same progression, I'm not sure whether we'll play along for that long, but I'm now going to press play, and this is going to be Quist playing his guitar, and you'll get a vibe for the backing track and the 11/8. And I might listen to it for a bit, obviously, to try and get a bit used to it, but then hopefully explain what's going on. And I'm just going to adjust this because it's quite loud here. Obviously, I don't know how it sounds over the speakers at your end. It's always a little bit random. Okay, right, so I think I'm going to have to just explain this a little bit, because what people might get confused with is you can't really tap your foot to this, and if you do, you're going to go wrong, because first of all, I mean, as a guitarist and listening to the riff, it sounds like... I'm going to count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So if you're listening to the riff, you might be counting to 6 and then thinking, hang on, it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and you're jumping on the and into the next. And then when you start again, you're now, because you've changed on and, you're now on the offbeat. So it's like going, if I'm going down, this is like the weirdest explanation ever. But if we're going down and we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like the numbers are down here and the ands are in the air, like where you lift your foot up if you're kind of tapping your foot to something. So if we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and we've started up here now, so we're on the offbeat. And this is why it's not going to work if you're tapping your foot to it. So anyway, back to that, we're not counting to 6, we're counting to 11. So it means that you have to count double time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then take a breath. But hopefully that makes sense. If you count to 11, it'll all fit. But of course, because it's changing from being on the beat to off the beat, you're never going to kind of be able to sit it in a groove. But you can start to kind of fit. We've got some emphasis kind of in there. Just have to listen to a little bit more. Now I think this might be just like 16 and a half minutes of this same time signature. It's going to be really difficult to follow. But, I mean, for you guys maybe listening into it. But there's something about this riff that isn't quite sitting. Okay, right. I'm going to get to the bottom of this because when we have... oh, it starts there. Okay, on that rundown... the rundown is happening. I mean, it's composed how it's been composed, but the rundown is happening a beat too early. So we have this. We kind of had this 2 strikes at the beginning of every bar, and remember we're counting to 11, so we're going, and we have that coming in straight away. And if I'm hitting the strings all the time, I'm going 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, and that's where it's coming in. But playing that and counting at the same time is a lot harder than, well, I was going to say it's a lot harder than it looks, but I probably just made it look really hard. So we're going. And here, then, so he's ending with a semitone rundown, and rather than going and starting there, he's going and he's putting in an extra low E, but that hasn't happened in any of the rest of the riff. So two, three. So I don't know. To my mind, it should be the same as the rest of it. So you go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and like that. So that you go ba da da ba ba, because then you're leading into. Because then you're going straight into the riff from before without having an open E before the first 2. So anyway, I mean, you're probably really confused, hopefully not too confused, but it means that on that turnaround, we're getting 1 extra. We're losing, at least I think, we're losing the feel of what we've heard before. So the last bar musically doesn't make as much sense, because you think, well, where does the rundown happen? But it's happening a beat too early, so that we're going, and then we have to wait for the next E's, which we don't have to wait for the rest of it. So anyway, I mean, that's something to look out for. But if you are just trying to get used to new time signatures and complicated ones like 11/8, I mean, this is a great backing track. You get 16 minutes of it to just kind of play through, and even kind of playing along with the riff. I mean, I'll try. Yeah, so he goes down a beat too early. I wouldn't go down that early. I'd go down a beat later. So, because then it's a natural progression into that next bar. But anyway, we'll play along a little bit and see what we can come up with, even though I think we've already done a little bit. Just to mention that when I say about, other songs and other progressions, how I like when something's been thrown in, like another time signature, just for like a bar, if we're going back into 4/4, let's try and convert the head back into being 4/4. I'm going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So now I'm playing in 4, 4. And you kind of get into that groove. But then if you're going... I then went into 5/4, so going to 5 rather than 4, instead of going... So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I should have picked an easier riff to play, but I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So you're kind of putting in a bar, you've done quite a lot of 4/4, and then you throw in a 5/4, and it's like, oh, what happened? There was something different about that, and it kind of interrupts the flow, but that's the point of it, to interrupt it. So that's what you can do when, I mean, you know, progressive bands like, you know, Rush, for example, were great at doing this. They'd put in just like a bar, like here and there, that was different, so it interrupted the flow, but that was the point, that, you know, it would kind of inject something just outside of the flow, and then they get back into 4/4. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of an example of it, you know, just being thrown in for a bar. But this, we're in 11/8 for the whole thing, so we never really get into that kind of groove of having that, you know, the, you know, if you keep on repeating the same sequence and make it an even number, you're going to start to get that kind of feel to it, that it's moving along, it's even, and then, you know, you can throw in a little 5/4 in there to make it interesting. But anyway, like I said, it turns into more kind of maths than actually just playing music and making music. But let's have, it's 16 minutes past 1. I've been chatting for ages. Last chance to enter into next week's Pig Roulette. So type I agree, tag Carla Murray in the comments section to get your name on that wheel. We'll listen to this maybe for a couple of minutes and have a little play along. I think a lot of it with this is kind of ignoring the time signature, not really trying to follow it, but just playing off that time signature. Let's have a listen. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, I mean, this is the other thing, that however you want to count it, you can do. Obviously, counting it double time. Yeah, if you don't want to count up to 11, then yeah, you can break it up into that. Just make sure that what you're counting, if you're separating it up into 2 bars effectively, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then yeah, you can count it that way. But in terms of getting your head around the 11/8, maybe for people that don't know about time signatures, just that first number, you've got to be counting up to that. And it just so happens that because, here we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, you have to count quite quickly. That's what might, catch people off guard. But anyway, yeah, if you guys want to check this out, it's Quist on YouTube, the channel 11/8 progressive rock backing track in E minor. Like I said, it's good to just get yourselves in the feel of this particular time signature, but it might be good to kind of play along with the riff. Like I said, I would tend to throw in that, end part where we have that turnaround to the first bar again, just a beat later, so that we get na 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 da da, and we get the da da emphasis points. Anyway, thank you for joining me tonight, and the donations. Let me just quickly jump into those because there have been a couple there. Orlando's donated $5. Thank you for that again, Orlando. The message was, I was stuffing my face with Popeye's fried chicken, complete with mashed potatoes and gravy, a biscuit and an apple pie. I was listening though. So thank you for that, Orlando, and just mentioning loads of food, because I am quite hungry. Orlando's donated $2 again, so thank you for that. And the message is, it reminds me of the Tom Sawyer time signature, so thank you for that. And David just donated $5 and said, nice playing Phil, so thank you for that, David. We are going to be calling things to a close. Just quickly over on PayPal, we've had a donation from Marge, who donated £2.32. Thank you for that, Marge. The message was, there was a discussion about overrated guitar players. One of them was B.B. King. In my opinion, he was more about the music than the trying to be a good guitar player. Thank you. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's always going to be a hotly debated topic, just guitar players, who's better than, somebody else. But then there's really no better. It's just, how each guitarist plays. They're not approaching it like a competition. I mean, the only competition element to it is when people start kind of comparing speed or trying to be faster than somebody else. And yeah, I've said in many videos that the best music isn't the fastest, it's the best music. Otherwise there would be a champion of music, because that's the person that can play or sing the fastest. So yeah, I think people do take their eye off the ball and get too much into speed, and that kind of detracts from the music. So that's why, there are millions of really technically proficient guitarists who can play really fast, but they haven't got any compositions or any songs that have connected with a huge audience worldwide. So this is the thing, it's kind of mixing those two things together that is so difficult. So thank you for that, Marge. Lynn has donated £58 as well. Thank you for that, Lynn. And the message is, less than 18 hours from here to Skinwalker Ranch. Very tempting. So thank you for that, Lynn. And I don't think I would actually go there, especially once you've seen the series. It's all a little bit weird. Just watching it on TV is fine for me, so I'll stay in the UK. That's all right. But thank you for that. Kathleen's donated £11.60 as well, and says, Phil, thank you. I'm just going to scroll down. Thank you for your insightful David Crosby analysis. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge so enthusiastically. So thank you for that, Kathleen, and no problem. Thank you guys for requesting the video on David, and for requesting every video that I do on the channel, because that's what happens is I just go through that comment section, make a note of what's being requested, and we do, get through them eventually. It does take quite a while, but we do get there in the end. Thank you, Diane, as well, who has just donated $10. We are going to be calling things to a close. By the way, on tonight's live stream, I haven't clicked the advert button anywhere live, so if you guys got an advert, I don't know what that's all about, unless YouTube are now putting in adverts kind of surreptitiously without me knowing, so that they're making revenue from it. And I haven't actually said to have any, adverts on the channel, or at least on the live stream that we've just been going through. So yeah, if there are adverts, then apologies for those, but I didn't request them or give license to them or for them on the live stream. But in the future, if you're watching this on catch up, you can still hit that thumbs up. That would be great. But yeah, in the future, then the adverts do come on there, because obviously we've got a cover video here and my song at the beginning as well. So there are different copyright rules and regulations to be followed with that kind of thing. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I'm going to be making another video tomorrow night, so check that out, and Friday night as well, and then we'll be live streaming on Saturday night, so hopefully you guys can join me then. Have a great rest of the week, and as I always say, try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live in, but have a great rest of the morning, afternoon, evening as well, whatever it is where you are, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!